Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and in this tutorial, which is forming part of my year of granny squares, I am going to show you how to do this African violet or African flower. So I've done a couple here, and with this one I used a different colour around this part, and on this one I used the white. So it just shows you the different kind of effects you'll get just by changing some colours. So I didn't realise I hadn't done one of these. I'd done a circle and I'd like a coaster, and I'd done a hexagon, but I'd not done the square. So I thought I'd put that to rights and get underway with one of these. So I've done a few different incarnations of it and found that this one to be the best one so far. So I'm going to show you this one. If you've not done so already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Or if you're watching me on TikTok, then please don't forget to follow. I'm just going to pause this video for a second while I get set up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm using these colours here, and these are all special DK, special double knit. And this I got from my shop, hobbyrocks.co.uk. There's a link under the video to the shop and a voucher code that works currently. And the previous ones that I made, I did in true African violet colours. So I did a yellow centre and purple around here because that's the colour of African violets, but sometimes it just looks very dark and difficult to see. So I'm going to use these colours here for this tutorial. So just move my drink out of the way and the rest of these, and we are starting with the yellowy colour, which is saffron. I do have a brighter yellow, but I decided on the saffron. It's one of my favourite colours. You'll need a darning needle, but not very much of it. We'll work over as much as we can, and a pair of scissors. And I'm using a 4.5mm crochet hook. All of these supplies, as I said, are available at my shop. So the start of this, as you can see, I have this little hole. I started with a chain of 4. And if you wanted to, you could use the magic ring, magic loop, magic circle, whatever anybody wants to call it. I've heard it called all of those, but I've just used a chain of 4 because there's quite a few holes here and there, and I thought it looked like it belonged. So let's just move this down a little bit, and I'll start then. You need a slip knot. Any way you normally make yours is fine, and we're going to chain 4. So this tutorial expects that you would know all of these stitches. I do have an absolute beginner's course, which I'll put up here if you need to brush up on any stitches before you do this. I do have a left-handed and a right-handed version. So 4 chain, and we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Make this little ring, and it is very tiny at first. You can just about see the center there. So what we're going to do is we are going to chain 2. Now, I normally would use a stacking stitch, as everybody who watches me regularly would know, but I don't want one of these segments here to look wider than the other, and it would. So I'm also going to go into the center of the ring. You can see the center, and make a UK treble crochet. So that is with 3 on the hook, through 2, through 2. I'm going to chain 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to make, sorry, someone went past with their alarm on then. I didn't know if you heard that. So we've got 2, this 2 chain represents a UK treble, which is a double crochet in the US. So if I refer to the treble crochet and you're using US terms, you'll know I mean a double crochet. So our repeat then is 2 UK trebles and 1 chain. We're going to do that again. So the first 2 chains obviously count as the first one. And now we're going to put 2 in our ring. And as you can see, the ring is getting bigger, and chain 1. So that's 1 section, 2 sections. We want 8 altogether. So we want 8 pairs of UK trebles separated by 1 chain. So that's my third. Okay, I'm going to pause the video then and finish off my 8 sets of 2 with 1 chain, and I'll come back to you once I've done those. Okay, so I've almost finished the 8th, but it does get a little congested in there, and if it does, just pull that across and then we'll finish that. So I'm going to chain 1 and complete this by slip stitching into the top of my 2 chain that started this round, and I'm going to chain, cinch it down and cut this yarn and end off. Okay, so now we have quite a few stitches in this little ring, and I'm going to pause the video a second while I bring in my new colour, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm bringing in my new colour, and what I'm going to do is a light one and then a darker one, but you can make these 2 rounds in the same colour. I did that in my violet ones, but I've used 2 colours in this one, and this is how that segment would look with the same colour. So I'm going to change it and do one that is slightly darker. So what we want to do is join in any of our chain spaces. I'm not going to do this one because I don't want to work over 2 tails at the same time. So I'm just going to join here, and you can join up however you would like, however you normally would, but I'm going to just do it that way. Okay, so this time around I'm still going to chain 2 because I don't want any of my chains or any of my stitches to be fatter than the other. So I'm going to chain 2, and into that same space I'm going to make a UK treble, and I'm going to chain 1, then in the same space I'm going to do 2 more. Now ordinarily I would carry my yarn with me and work over it, but for the purposes of this tutorial I'm just going to drop it because it'll get confusing otherwise. So in each of our spaces I'm going to do the same thing. So that's 2 UK trebles. Remember, they are double crochets in the US, 1 chain and 2 more in the same space. And you'll do that, that too much yarn there, getting a little bit of yarn bath coming along. So yeah, I'll do 1 more with you, and we're going, these are the kind of little clusters that we're doing in every single one of our chain spaces all the way around, working over the yarn as much as you can. It'll be easier with this tail because it's the same colour. Okay then, so I'm going to pause the video again, and I will catch up with you when I get back to the start. Okay, so now I have my last one. I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of my 2 chains. So there's my chain, that's my stitch. Okay, a slip stitch into there, end off and cut the yarn. Okay, so if you were carrying on with the same colour, then you would just slip stitch into this 2 chain space right here. But I'm going to change colour. Remember, this tail will be gone, and I'm going to just join a new colour now to the centre, and you want to be kind of not in the centre of it, you want to try and get in this corner when you pull it in. So I'm just going to pause the video while I bring my new colour in. Okay, so if you're wondering why I keep bringing a new colour in, I'm using a Wool Genie, and they're in my shop too, but I would not be without mine. I absolutely love this thing. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to join somewhere else, so I don't want to work over the same tail, and I'm going to join here. And what do I mean about make it in the corner? So we're going to try and bring our join as far over this way as we can, so that we're kind of not off center, you know, when we've done our stitches. Okay, so with this one, we could, if we wanted to, do the stack, but we've done the chains all the way through, so I'm just going to keep the same thing. So it's chain 2, that one there doesn't count, and I'm going to put 6 UK treble crochets in this same space, and I'm going to work over that tail at the same time. So that would be my third. The 2 chain means the first stitch. So altogether I want 7, obviously. And so that's my third. It's quite a lot of stitches to get into that space, but that's fine. We've got 7 in that one. We're just going to put 7 in each one all the way around. Nice and easy. I think I lost count there, might be 6. Yep. And my last one is 7. So that's the repeat then. 7 in between. Obviously this was thinner yarn that I used here, so it's not, this looks a lot more chunky. But 7 inside every one of our chain spaces. I will pause the video then and catch up with you when I've done all of my chain spaces with my UK trebles. Okay, so I'm all the way around. Then I'm just going to slip stitch into my first stitch, which is the 2 chain that I started with, and do my 1 chain, cinch it down, end off that colour. Okay, so this is now how it looks, and it's quite, I like it, but it's a lot chunkier than this. It's just worth saying these were all made with DK weight yarn, but obviously this DK is a lot thinner than this. I wish it was standard, but it isn't. So I'm going to bring in a new colour. If I were to do white, then I would get this effect, slightly different because I have 2 different colours. But with this one, I brought in another colour to do this part, and I quite like that. So I'm just going to pause the video then while I bring in a new colour, and I'll come straight back to you. Okay, so we want to make a join in any of our first of our 7. Okay, so I'm not going to do it here because I don't want to work over 2 tails, as I've mentioned before. And I'm going to bring in this colour, and I'm going to do 1 UK double crochet in each of the next 7, including this one that I have here. So I'm just going to insert, pull up my loop, yarn over and pull through both of those. And then because I've joined that way, I get this little line there. If I give that a tug, it disappears like magic. So I'm going to put 1 in each of these 7 stitches and work over that tail because I don't like sewing in. Okay, so nice and easy. 4, 5, 6 and 7. Never normally count, do I? Because I think it puts people off. So right this time we want to do a yarn over and drop down to the row below, pull up a loop. We want to pull it up and yarn over and pull through all 3. So we've done a dropped half treble, which is a half double in the US. So then again, we want to go into all of our stitches. So I think we need this one, but you can always count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we want to go into that one. I'm going to cut that tail off so I don't need to work over it anymore. 1. Okay, we're going to yarn over, drop to the row beneath, pull up our loop, yarn over and pull through all of those. So that is how we are creating this part here, which is making the petals more rounded. It looks a lot more effective when you're using purple on the actual African violet, but I learnt that with making the previous ones. I've got a bit of a split going on there. think I had a bit of the previous colour come up. It's very difficult to see in the darker purples when I do a tutorial. Plus, it never really photographs the right colour in any case, so might as well just do other colours, but you are free to use whatever colour scheme you want. So again, I'm going to drop down to the row beneath and pull up, yarn over, pull through all three. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way around, and I will catch up with you again. I'll pause the video and catch up with you when I get back to the start. Okay, so I'm almost there. Let's just count those. I'm not sure how many I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last one. So we need to do our last drop stitch, bring it up, and now we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch and do our chain, cinch it down and end that colour. Okay, pull that out. So now this is what it's looking like. Very pretty, look lovely as a coaster, just like that, wouldn't it? So yeah, especially if you made them with cotton, they would be more flat anyway. So now I'm going to bring in the white and show you how we're going to make this into the square. So as you guess, I'm just going to pause the video while I bring in the white yarn. Okay, so we're going to make our join right here. We're going to come in by one of these drop stitches. I'm just going to introduce our white yarn. Okay, now this time I am going to stack because I want the bunched up kind of square. I don't want it to look kind of loose. And I know this yarn, even though it's the same yarn, looks a bit thinner, which is not fun, is it? I just wish they didn't do that. Okay, so how do I do that then? I'm going to go into the same stitch and I'm going to work over the tail, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through one of those, pull it low, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those. And in this one post here, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both of those. But I don't want this to be the height of a treble. I want it to be the height of a double treble, which in the US is a treble crochet. So I'm going to go in this sidebar again, the one underneath, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of those. Okay, so in the next stitch, this is half a corner by the way. In the next stitch, I'm going to do a UK treble crochet. Remember, double crochet in the US, just to stop any confusion. And in the next one, I'm going to do one more. Next stitch, we're going to do a half treble, which is half double, remember, in the US. And in the next 4 stitches, I'm going to make UK double crochets, which are single crochets in the US. Just 4. I'm not going to work over that fluffy bit of tail. Usually shows through. Okay, we're back at a drop stitch. So I'm going to do 1 half treble in that stitch. And then I'm going to work my way back. So I'm going to do 4 UK double crochets. That was 4, wasn't it? No. Lost count. I can't see my half treble. Just bear with me a second. I need to work this out. Okay, I've counted back and I've now done my 4. And we are now going to, as I said, mirror this here. So we're going to do the half treble and 2 UK treble crochets in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're back at the corner again and we're going to yarn over twice, go into this stitch, the next one, and do a UK double treble, which is a treble crochet. We're going to chain 1 and in the same stitch we are going to put another and that is our corner. The first one we did was half a corner. The next stitch we're going to do our UK treble and another in the next one, and then the half treble in the next one. 4 UK double crochets and 1 half treble crochet. 4 UK double crochets. So basically we are just going to mirror this now again. So that's half treble, a double, sorry, a treble, just getting confused between my stitches. And now we're going to put that corner in here again. So the corner is the double treble, 1 chain, double treble in the same space. Okay, so that is the repeat then. It's worth jotting down exactly what it is you've got to do. You can see it's now becoming nice and square. The next round will cement that down even more, but it was harder to show you on this side because, you know, you haven't really done a whole side. But we're mirroring, we're kind of doing our corner, and then we are gradually working our stitches lower and then gradually working them higher. So we're mirroring each side, and in between the very middle stitch is the half treble. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video then, and my next 2 stitches are going to be trebles, half treble, 4 doubles, a half treble, 4 doubles, and I'm just going to make another run up to the corner. So I'm going to pause it then, and I will catch up with you once I get back to the start. But obviously if you get stuck, you can just rewind that little bit and jot down the sequence along the sides. Okay, so I've done my 2 UK trebles. I'm going to finish this corner by going in the same stitch as this one with my double treble. And I'm not going to join with a chain. I'm going to join by using a UK double crochet. I'm going into the 2 loops of my stack, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through both of those. And that's because I want to finish right in the center. Now this does pucker just a little bit, and if you want to, you can block it, but I think mine is only puckering because I have thinner yarn and thicker yarn, because of, unfortunately, even though it's the same brand, it does work out that way sometimes. But I think if you're sewing them together, it will really work its way out. It's not really coming out of shape. Okay, so here we are in between our 2 double trebles, and I'm going to make my first stitch is a UK half treble in that space. I'm not going to chain or anything, don't need to. 1 and 2 in the same space. That's half a corner. Now I'm going to put 1 in every single stitch all the way along this side. My yarn, sorry, my hook is now warm and starting to kind of squeak a little bit, which is very much so putting me off. You hate it when that happens. Worse when it's a tutorial, because you don't have anything to wipe it with. Okay, I'm going to pause it so that I can do it. I'm going to catch up with you when I get to this corner and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so I'm at my next corner, and it is really, really humid in here at the moment because although I have my aircon, it's raining, and I don't know if you can hear that noise on the conservatory roof. If you can, I do apologise. Anyway, we're at the corner. We're going to put 3 in there, just 3 stitches. The first one we did 2, and I know that that's not strictly speaking half, but it is when it works out when you get to the next one, because you are slip stitching into the first. Okay, so that's the repeat then. 1 in each one all the way along, 3 in the corner, 1 in each all the way along, 3 in the corner, 1 in each all the way along. I'll pause the video and catch up with you once I get back to the start and show you how we end this off. Okay, so I've made it all the way back. I've done my last one in my stitch there. I'm going to finish off by doing one more in that corner to finish that corner off, and then slip stitch into my next stitch and cinch that one down and end off. Of course, you can do another round if you wanted to, but that's all done, and I think that's beautiful. I really love this square. It's very, very nice. If you want to check out my hexagon that I made and the circle, I'll put a link at the end of the video when the videos come in, and you've got the set. So that's the, well, I call it the African violet because that's the real name of the African flower, but yeah, I think it's pretty. I like that. Thanks for watching. And like I said before, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and hopefully you'll be informed when new videos come along. Bye-bye for now.